Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Harshvardhan Bissa and I'll be your host in the channel. So stay connected, and the channel is all about our universe. We'll be covering a lot of topics for children, for adult, and for all the age groups. If you're a student, this channel is for you. If you're a teacher, still this channel is for you for more informations. If you are a parent who has a kid studying in school, do refer to our channel episodes and enjoy the content there. We'll be giving you a lot of good new informations around, plus a lot of verified inputs on the topics that we pick up. So the idea of starting up this channel came around while we were surfing for good content on a lot of topics like our universe, our solar system, the force energy, like I've mentioned in the description, force energy, waves, then maybe the elements, the chemical reaction, human body, how to keep a body healthy. So we were not able to find a lot of good content, or maybe in a specific channel itself. So we are going to be one of the solutions to that issue, and with a lot of good takeaways, maybe quiz here and there, and rapid fire questions to you for all the audience in across all the videos that you see. So what is that we will be covering? So I'll be covering series on our universe. While I say our universe, what I'll be covering is the details of our universe. How did our universe, what is exactly is our universe? What is the Big Bang theory? What is the shape of universe? If I have to give you a few insights on that. So this our universe will be a series of episodes which will have more information, like what was before the universe was there, what was there before that, how big is the universe that we are part of, and it will also have a lot of like I mentioned, rapid fire questions in each and every, or maybe we'll try and do that in 2 episodes. What are the matter particles which are part of our universe? How were atoms made? What are particles? These are few very small questions. We do read about them in school books, but the way we are going to present it to you through our YouTube channel will be very different from what you have already been seeing, looking at things. The objective will be to make learning easier. Information has to be very specific. Then we'll also cover topics on what is gravity, how does gravity work, how does it differ place to place, what effect does it have on human body and the things around us. Who discovered gravity is also one of the things that we will be covering. So all of these would be part of our universe series that we will be having. This series will be comparatively shorter. The first introduction video that we are shooting at the moment will be quite a longer one, to give you a gist about what you as an audience should expect. So we'll be talking about stars. We'll also be talking about which star is closest, which is the farthest, black holes, how are stars born, what happens if the stars die. Then galaxies. How many galaxies are there? Are there galaxies which are visible to us? Is there a specific shape to any galaxy? We'll see about all of those in the coming videos that we have. So we'll also read about, or maybe learn about nebula, which is closest to the Earth. What exactly is nebula? If you guys know, do comment on the go to the comment section and comment about them. Any other specific topic that you think is very relevant to our universe, do let me know, because we'll be covering that too in the series. Maybe after the planned content, we'll be taking up those as well. So like I mentioned, we'll be talking about stars, we'll be talking about galaxies, and how the stars are born, farthest, closest, what happens when a star is dead, and what is the process of making of a star. Then while you are talking about stars, how are they classified? What are the formations that they make? Who named them? And why were they named in the way they are named? Are there only one kind of stars? One kind of star, or there are multiple kind of stars as well? So let's see. You'll be very happy to follow us on the series. We'll also talk about our constellation. So on the constellation front, we'll talk about what are constellations. We'll talk about the pole star. How stars are linked in a constellation is also very important aspect of our universe that we shall be covering. So this is also a topic about our universe series. So we'll be talking about star groups, how the groups are formed, and we'll also talk about, like I mentioned, how do the stars glow, how do they get their light, what makes stars twinkle, or at least look to us like they're twinkling. Do they also have different colors, or what colors do these stars have, is also a part of the series that we will be making. Why do stars die? What happens when they die? Most of us know that sun is also a star. So will our sun also die someday? And if does, what happens to us on the earth and to the complete universe around? So these are few things that we'll be covering. We'll also be covering black holes, what makes a black hole, why is gravity different at a black hole, and a lot of things about black hole in detail. Then how did the life begin is again a beautiful series that we have designed in our universe. It is a sub series in the series, and how did life begin is the name of the topic. We'll talk about a lot of scientific research that happened, a lot of evaluation details is what will be covered in a first series of our universe. The second series would be about our solar system, because solar system is also a very important part of our universe and does have very deep impact on our life on a daily basis. So we'll learn what makes up our solar system, what are the we'll also learn what are the key details or takeaways in the videos about the solar system. Is it only that the sun, earth rotates? Does the sun also rotate? Do stars also move? We'll talk about them. What are the number of planets that we have? Every planet, what is the number of moons they have attached? How are moons attached to them? What is sun? And how old is it? We'll see. And how does sun generate its own light, heat, or why is it what makes it completely keep on burning for a longer period. What is moon? There are various kinds of moon that we see through while being on Earth. We'll also see how long months are there on moon. We'll see how many moons get attached, how a moon gets attached to a planet, and we'll also learn about how each planet has a different number of moons there. Then we'll specifically talk about all the planets in detail, like we'll talk about Mercury, we'll talk about Venus, we'll talk about Earth. Earth is like our planet. We'll talk about that as well in lot of things in detail as well. We'll talk about Mars. Why is it called the red planet? Is there life on Mars? We've seen a lot of people traveling, creating projects or missions to find life on Mars. We'll also read about those in detail. We'll talk about Jupiter. How big is it? Why did it become such a big planet? And what are the red spots that we see on Jupiter is what we'll be reading. We'll also read about Saturn, and Saturn has its own rings. What are those rings? How are they made? What keeps them connected or holding up their position in the solar system? Could there be life on Saturn? If yes, no, we'll see in the series. So you guys have to be connected with us and show your love, like our videos, comment, share it with your friends, colleagues, and teachers, students, friends who are also parents to kids. Please share it with them too. So Uranus, like I was mentioning, name of planets. We'll also read about Uranus, who discovered and when was it discovered, Neptune, what happens and how many moons does Neptune have. So we'll cover number of moons on every planet. We'll cover when was the planet born or discovered, and how far is it from Earth and the Sun. So while I was younger, we used to read Pluto is also one of the planet, but then there were revisions to that, and we'll learn why Pluto is not a planet now. So, and how new planets were discovered around, what is an asteroid, about comets, how fast are they, how are they built, what happens to comets which come towards Earth and hit our outer space. While we are talking about the solar system, we'll also talk about people who travel there, and those are the astronauts. What do they do in the space? How do they survive? What is the kind of food they have? How do they drink water and take care of their daily livelihood? We'll also talk about how well can now we travel as people to various solar system or various planets in the solar system. So these all will be part of our second series on our solar system. Maybe each series would have approximately 5 or 7 videos. So you guys have to stay connected, keep watching all of them through. I'll not keep those videos longer. Those videos would be 2 or 5 minutes long, given the kind of information we are covering in the video. The third series that we will be having will be on force, energy, bit of science. Force, energy and waves is what we'll be covering in the third series. So in the third series, while I'm talking about force, we need to understand exactly what force is, how does it work. So we also need to understand a few other things like matter, like nucleus, who found the first atom and stories around that. We'll also see what is energy, what different types of energy, how energy can be made, conserved, and reused. Can it be? Can there be alternatives to different ways of using energy or creating them? So, energy is going to be a very, very key episode in our series of heat, force, energy, and waves. So we'll be also talking about heat, how heat works. We'll also talk about conduction, convection, and radiation. What are they? So if you are a student in maybe 5th or 4th to 6th standard, this would be a very, very informative video for you. What is force? How did Isaac Newton discover the force of gravity? How weightlifters work? What are the techniques? How force works when somebody is lifting weight or doing a particular kind of action? We'll be seeing that too. Also, we'll also see how this force works while we are riding a cycle, we are on a train or a car or an aeroplane. We'll also see all of these in detail too. How force helps us do a lot of activity and how force holds us in doing a couple of things easily. So while we'll be talking about force, energy, a particular episode would be dedicated to Mr. Isaac Newton and his breakthroughs. He had found out a lot of good inventions or discoveries to the science, and we'll be covering all of them in a particular series dedicated only to Mr. Isaac Newton. We'll also learn difference between mass and weight. So why I'm telling you specific names is to ensure that you know why you are following my channel. Like I mentioned, it is very difficult. I was not able to find a different channel with all of these contents put together in a particular series to make things easier for all age group to learn. And like I mentioned, why I've made this video in English is to ensure a lot of people also are able to get the access to the information that I'm trying to work out for you. What is the mechanical advantage? How does it help us in sports? How does it help us in our daily activity? How do we use different tools in a better way for efficient outputs? Like if I have to move a heavy stone, instead of just pushing it to roll, I can take a help of a lever and do that very easily with lesser force. So we'll see how that works. We'll see how engines work. How engines work on a car, in our cars and bikes. How do they work? How do they work in case of jet engines? What is the acceleration? We'll talk about speed. We'll talk about racing cars. We'll talk about racing bikes and a lot of things around that. What is electricity? How is it made? How do we conserve that? How do we transfer that? Different types of charges, and just for you to understand how does lightning strike is a very easy concept. Just to give you a jinx about that, Earth and the sky, they act as positive and negatively charged particles. While the particles are charged in positive and negative way, energy starts flowing through them, and what you see in form of striking is light or electricity running through. between the both ends of the battery. So Earth becomes a kind of a battery with positive and negative charged particles, and the electric current passes through them. What are the uses of electricity is what we'll be learning. How does a generator work? What is an LCD? What is a mobile? How mobile uses electricity and how can it be saved? While we are talking about all these, we will also cover magnetism. What are magnetic poles? Why opposite sides of the magnet attract each other and the same sides are repelling each other is what we'll also learn. How magnetic force works in our atmosphere is also one of the topics that we'll be covering. We'll be covering importance of light, what are photons, why does sun appear red, and why does the sky at times appear blue, by evening it turns dark, and at times it also turns purple or pink. So we'll learn about that too in the series. What is wavelength? Wavelength is also part of our series in the force, energy and waves series that we'll be presenting. It will be a episode there. How does light work? While we talk about how light works, we'll also tell you about transparent objects, translucent objects and opaque objects. So we'll also talk about concave and convex lenses, how they help people in day-to-day life, people with issues with medical issues with vision, and also with good 6x6 image vision, how concave and convex lenses are helping us in a daily life. We'll also give you short experiments for all the kids at home. Do try that too. We'll talk about electromagnetic waves or spectrum, TV signals. We'll talk about infrared signals. We'll talk about microwaves that we use at home, how all of these are connected in all in general to magnetism. We'll also cover that too. So while we talk about all of these kind of energy, we'll also talk about radioactive energy and what is radioactivity, how nuclear fusion work, what is a nuclear reaction. While we do that, we'll also try and cover nuclear bombs, which have been a heated discussion topic in quite some time. What is nuclear power? How nuclear power stations work? What is an atomic bomb, which was unfortunately used in the previous World War? So we'll learn about that too. What is sound? How does sound travel? How does sound travel in different kind of area that we are there? What are the frequencies that sound has, and how does it impact on the listeners' way of accepting information? I hope you guys are staying connected with me and you are ready to learn more about the information that I'm going to cover. I'm just making this longer to cover a lot of topics so that you find it informative and stay connected with us and don't lose the interest of using my channel as a source of information to you. So we will talk about sound waves, how do they work, and how cars are designed in a way that there's a certain sound it gives, how are silencers built to give a specific kind of noise or sound outputs. What is electronics, what are semiconductors, and capacitors, resistors. These are basic items in electronics is what we'll be covering in these will all be part of our force, element and waves series. Again, this series is going to be very helpful for you. So Don't skip any of the episodes, stay connected, and like I mentioned in one of the episodes, alternate episodes 1 and 2 episodes, will be giving you rapid fire questions, a lot of giveaways continuously on our channel. The next series that we'll be making in our channel would be on elements, compounds, and chemical reactions. This is a very huge topic, and we'll try to make that very easy and simple for you. We'll talk about what is an element, what is atomic mass, we'll talk about the periodic table, how to learn that. That is very important if you are picking up science as a subject post class 10th, and if you are interested in science, it is very helpful. I'll give you a lot of tricks to remember that. What are the groups on the periodic table, and we'll talk about solids, liquids, we'll talk about why water freezes at 0 degree, and what is fire, gas, how are they made, what is plasma. We'll cover mixture, what is a mixture, we'll cover what is a solution and how are these two different, and what is solute, what is a solvent. While we do that, we'll also cover what is a chemical compound and how does a covalent bond work. These are chemical or chemistry terms that I'm using. While I'll be creating the series, I'll be making it in a way that even if a 5 or 6 year kid is trying to watch my channel, they also get some information about all of these. And even if you are a adult who is learning chemistry or these topics in school or at college maybe, so makes sense to you too, because my daughter is 5.5 years, 6 years old, so I'll be making all the content in a way that it is relevant to her as well and to all the other age groups. So what is a chemical formula, how do you write it, what is exothermic reaction, how does batteries work. You would have seen fluorescence. So what is fluorescence, how is it used in medical research. We'll cover all of these under our series of elements, compounds, and chemical reactions. So we'll also cover carbon cycle. Why is carbon so important to us? What is carbon chain? And a lot of key informations like how CO2 is made, how do we convert that to oxygen, and how can we take care of our planet while we are using non-renewable sources of energy is also what we'll be covering in our series. We'll talk about crystals, we'll talk about our pencil leads, how are they made, where do we get them. We'll also talk about basic elements of life and what are those. So how do plants help us in generating oxygen? How are plants and human body related? What is the human body composition is what we'll be covering. All of these will be part of the chemistry of life in the part of our series of elements, compounds, and chemical reactions. So I'm sure you would have taken notes of a lot of things, but I'll be putting all these details in the description as well, so that you are connected and find it easier to navigate through the number of videos that we upload. The next series would be on the human body. We'll talk about how first humans lived, when were they, how old is the human like creatures on the earth, who were the first hunters. We'll talk about the evaluation of evolution of humans from animals and how are they different, how organs differ in human and animals, what is blood, what are the red blood cells, white blood cells, how do they work, what is pulse, what is blood pressure. We'll also talk about how do we breathe and benefits of breathing in different ways of doing that. While if you don't know, please stay connected and we'll be giving a good info on this as well. We'll also talk about a very important thing: why do we eat? How do we taste food is also one of the things, and what happens, what is the composition of our tongue. Few questions that will be put on the video as well to make the topics interesting. In the human body, we'll also cover about our kidney, liver, how are they made, what are their functions. We'll talk about the excretory system. While we talk about the digestive system, we'll also talk about the excretory system, how do they work, and we'll talk about them in detail. We'll talk about the skeletal system of our body and details about that, very detailed video on that too. Like I mentioned, the video would be made in a way that even a 5-6-year-old kid learns, gathers the information very well, and even if you are an adult, it is meaningful to you too. So then we'll also talk about the joints on the body, what kind of joints we have, how does the joint work, what are ligaments, and a lot of few details, very small details about them. We'll talk about muscles, why do we need them. We'll talk about topics like our nervous system, how does our nervous system work, does our body have, is there electricity in our body? If you are connected with me, do comment here as yes or no if you know the correct answer. We'll talk about a very important part of our body which controls almost everything, is the brain. That is going to be a very interesting series. That is going to be a really interesting series. We'll also talk about the senses of body, types of senses that we have, and the sense organs too. All this would be part of the human body series that we do. We'll talk about all the sense organs. Then we'll talk about why do we see and how do we see, what makes us see things in the way they appear to us. We'll talk about hair, we'll talk about the scalp of the body, skin, all the sense organs will be covered in detail, and we'll talk about the respiratory system. We'll talk about the new life, or maybe how a child is born, what happens to an unborn baby while it is in the mother's womb. We'll talk about a lot of similar things in detail. So while we cover all of this, we'll also cover in the last series of our on our channel, we'll be covering healthy body, how to keep our body healthy, what our balanced diet is, what is whom should we consult for better food. So what is the role of a dietitian in the complete cycle. We'll also see why do we fall ill, what is a disease, how do you cure that, is also a thing. What are microbes, what are pathogens, how do vaccines work. A lot of us have heard about this experience. I'm sure all except few kids who are still less than 2 years or 3 years are unaware of COVID-19, but all of us have experienced that tragic period very closely, and we'll also learn about pandemics in detail, history of pandemics in the human life, and we'll also learn about COVID-19 pandemic, how it started and how it worked, so that it makes us ready for future as well. Why is diagnosis important? How much milk should a kid have? What is the kind of food? What is the excuse me. So we'll be talking about benefits of exercising in all age groups, how it helps us. Like I mentioned, what is a balanced diet? So we'll be taking that in detail. We'll also talk about why do we need particular elements in our diet, like why do we need fiber, why do we need vitamins in the diet that we should have. And a balanced diet is something which is must. We should take care of our diet in the best possible ways. So these are the these are a lot of topics that we'll be covering in our video series through our channel. So this is Harshvardhan, your host, and I have been traveling around, learning a lot of different things, gathering the possible information that I wanted through various sources. Having verified them, I decided to start this channel of mine to encourage or share this information with all age group of kids. Maybe if you are a kid, it is useful. If you are a teacher, like I mentioned, it is useful too. If you are a parent, it is definitely useful, so that you can refer to my video and speak to your kid in a different way and explain them the topic in a much easier manner. Every video is going to have its own giveaway. So giveaway will have because this is a knowledge channel, will have giveaways for knowledge. We'll try and take up queries every end of every series that we launch, and we hope to keep you updated with the latest information that we gather on the channel. All the videos that follow would be, like I mentioned, in the range of 2 to 5 minutes, not more than that, keeping them very precise just to ensure that you are there connected with us and enjoying the content that we present to you. So this channel of mine is something that I'll be putting in my heart and soul in developing, and I hope you guys like the content. Anytime, anywhere, in any of the series you or videos that you think the content is getting, the delivery is getting difficult to understand, do reach out to me, directly comment on the video and let me address that immediately after the comment is around, so that maybe in the next or post that second or third video we start addressing the issues immediately. Like I mentioned, the only objective of starting the channel is to share the information with you in the easiest possible ways. The series of videos that we are going to start will have a lot of audio video running through, and you'll be able to listen to all the information from the background and also have a very nice visual effect to that. So like I mentioned, I'm your host on the channel, and I would like to welcome you all again and again to my channel. So please do like my channel, subscribe to it, and do share it with your friends and family members. Your reactions do matter to us. It gives us the confidence of creating newer videos every time and continuously. So stay healthy, stay connected, and stay focused. This is Harshvardhan signing off. Thank you.